Alright, welcome back. Now you might be wondering what is my favorite tank in the game, and that is a very tough question because I like to drive tank destroyers, I like to drive medium tanks, and recently I also started to enjoy the heavy tanks. Now at the moment I am mostly driving the T-54 and mostly driving the medium tanks in general, but at the moment my primary vehicle is the T-54. Now, I have unlocked all the vehicles within the platoon, and honestly, they're all fantastic vehicles, but today I'll be focusing on the T-54 alone because this tank is just absolutely insane. Now it has a 100mm main cannon, it has decent speed, 50 km per hour, reverse 8 km per hour, specific power 15 horsepower per ton, it has 4 crew members, 36 tons is the mass, penetration 219mm, this is the average penetration. And I will show you the other ammo types that this thing can have. The reload 10.5 seconds, turret rotation speed is 10 degrees per second, which is a little bit slow, but it is a mobile tank, so when you turn the turrets, you should turn the tank along the turrets, because that way you can actually aim faster towards the target. And it has some very nice protection, but a T-54 can penetrate another T-54 if they're using the APDS shells. So that is the platoon. Now the upgrades, well, everything is basically maxed out because I have been driving this thing for a while now, and yeah, the grind is real, but in the end it paid off because this thing is honestly quite insane. Now, let me show you the ammo type that you get with the T-54. You have 5 different shells, and you will start with APHE, which is armor piercing high explosive. So, the armor piercing high explosive, as you can see the little animation there of what it does when it goes in. So it basically goes through the armor and explodes inside the tank. Penetration at 0 angle from 100 meters to 110 millimeters. Armor penetration at 500 meters is 190. Smallest angle of attack with 100% ricochet 65 degrees. TNT equivalent 100 grams. Fuse sensitivity 19 millimeter. I love the details on the shells there. Now, OF for 12, high explosive fragmentation shell, effective against lightly armored targets, huge explosion power. It penetrates 90mm on 100 meter and 500 meters. Smallest angle of attack with 100% ricochet 83 degrees. TNT equivalent 1.46 kilograms. Fuse sensitivity 0.1 millimeters. BR412B. APHEBC, armor piercing high explosive with ballistic cap shell. Universal anti-tank projectile. Armor penetration at 0 angle from 100 meters to 110 millimeter. Armor penetration at 0 angle from 100 meters is 200 millimeter. Smallest angle of attack with 100% ricochet 71 degrees. TNT equivalent 100 grams. Fuse sensitivity is 90 millimeter. And you can see how it penetrates and how it explodes. Very interesting shell indeed. BR412D. APCBC, armor piercing capped ballistic capped shell. Universal anti-tank projectile. Armor penetrating at 0 angle from 100 meter to 140 millimeters. Armor penetration at an angle 0 angle from 100 meters is 220. Smallest angle of attack with 100% ricochet 71 degrees. TNT equivalent 93 grams. Fuse sensitivity 19 millimeters, which is interesting, and you can see the animation of the shell. It explodes once it enters in the tank. BR12P. APCR, armor piercing composite rigid shell, effective against thick armor, deal secondary shard damage. Armor penetration at 0 angle from 100 meters to 120 millimeters. Armor penetration at 0 angle from 100 meters is 190 millimeters. Smallest angle of attack with 100% ricochet 72 degrees. And now, the last shell. 3BM-8, APDS, armor piercing discarding sabot shell. Effective against thick armor, deals secondary shard damage. This is, I would say, the ammo type to go. Armor penetration at 100 meters is 300mm, at 500 meters is 390mm, and the smallest angle of attack with 100% ricochet is 80 degrees. Now I usually use the APDS shells with 3 high explosive or 4 high explosive shells, and honestly with the APDS shells you can easily penetrate most of the tanks, even the T-54 from the front. So time for me to show you some gameplay. This is where the fun begins. Okay, the first round will be Japan. And this is a very nice map. I honestly do like it, and very excited to see what other maps they decide to add in the game. Now, over here I usually like to go around this building. There are some very interesting rocks that you can use as very good cover, and at early game I try to snipe as many tanks as possible. If the goal is to capture the base, then I go towards zone A or sometimes towards zone C, although I also do go towards zone B when necessary. Now, we have all of these rocks that you can use as cover. After all, if you angle the tank correctly, it is very difficult to penetrate the T-54. Now, that was a bad shot. I was aiming for the lower plate, and I am hitting the lower plate. Okay, perfect, that was a good hit. Now, if you're using the APHE shell, the armor piercing high explosive, you are not going to penetrate the frontal armor of the T-54. Even if you are shooting at the lower plate, it is just not going to go through. So you will have to aim on the weak spot of the T-54, which is the commander's hatch, or basically the top of the turrets of the tank. But if you have APDS, then you can easily aim for the turrets or basically anywhere on the frontal armor of the tank. It will also penetrate most of other vehicles, most of the heavy tanks as well. So if you want to ensure that you do as much damage as possible, try to hit the ammo of your opponent. And well, that was a nice hit at the side turret of the T-10A, and that was the ammo exploding. Now, the turret rotation speed on the T-54 is not the best, and I usually try to rotate the tank with the turret so that I can get my gun to shoot at the target much faster. The difference between APHE and APDS is the fact that APHE, once it penetrates, it usually kills the tank in one hit. Meanwhile, with the APDS ammo, you really want to try to hit the weak spots of the target so that you can set off the ammo. That way you can kill the tank in one shot. Because it doesn't really explode once it penetrates, while the APHE does explode, so the APHE ammo does do more damage if the shell goes in, while the APDS ammo is basically penetrating everything that you throw at it. Or should I say, it penetrates everything that you shoot at it, or something like that. Even the T-10A is easily penetrated from the front. Now, when you have a tank that's angled like this, you should try to find the flattest possible surface so that you don't have a problem with penetrating targets. As you can see, if you hit a more angled surface, it will ricochet, it's not going to go in. For the T-10A, you can shoot the lower plate, you can also shoot the turrets, right or left from the main gun. That's where the shell can easily go through, and if you hit the right spot you can actually set off the ammunition as well. Or sometimes it just takes a couple more hits into the same spot in order to set off the ammo or to kill the tank's crew. Alright, so far so good. Now, usually I wouldn't recommend that you go and full up the whole tank with ammo, because then if your ammo gets hit or if any of the ammo compartments get hit, you risk of blowing up. But since in my unique case here I run out of ammo almost all the time, because I just keep shooting the whole match. So in my case, in my specific case, I usually have the ammo of the tank full to the top, because I usually do run out of ammo quite often. So in my case I have to have the ammo full, but you don't have to do that with your tank. It doesn't have to have all the ammo inside of it. And I would actually say that you should get some high explosive shells, because high explosive shells are good against AAs, and they're also good against some lightly armored destroyers and some other vehicles that have literally no armor. Because if you're using armor piercing, then you risk the shell to overpenetrate and basically does no damage. Now the APHE shell doesn't really have that issue, because once it penetrates it explodes, and when it explodes, you know, it does a lot of nasty damage inside of the tank. So with the APHE shell you don't really have to have high explosive, but you know, always nice to have a couple high explosive shells just in case, if it ever, you know, is required to have them. But so far the APDS here has been doing a lot of damage. Truly I mean, I haven't tried out any of the other rank 6 vehicles because they're not available yet, but at the moment the T-54 is literally the best medium tank in the game. This thing is dominating. Now, as you can see, the Object 906 is a pretty lightly armored target, and it did survive a bunch of hits. That is because it overpenetrates and basically does nothing inside, which, you know, is not realistic, but that's just how the game works. So I try to cover areas where your shrapnel or the spalling can cover most of the interior of the tank. You know, it is how the game works, but it also has some reason behind it, because that way, while the shrapnel travels through the inside of the tank, you do cover and kill as much crew as possible. Now that T-10A has a blown up main gun, so it is pretty harmless, and they're moving, so they can't repair the vehicle while they're moving. The ammo rack of the T-10 is usually located to the side, so you can easily hit the ammo if you shoot at the lower plate of the vehicle, because then the shell, or what remains of the shell, the shrapnel, goes in the ammo and basically blows up the tank. Well, and I did run out of ammo, so I have to chill out for a second here and reload. I didn't count how many kills I got so far, but I mean, it is ridiculous how fun this thing is. And there was a victory. 2,408 points. Nice. Alright. Not my best match. My best match was like I had 25 or 29 kills. I knocked it out of the park with that one. It was one of my, that's literally my best match to date in this game with the T-54 and with the T-10A, because I actually died, so I had to respawn. Alright, now they have changed this map quite a bit. Usually you could go here and snipe the targets, but now you can't. You have to go in this little blown up building. Oh, look at that. Well, I didn't mean to fire, and yeah, that was a misfire, a literal misfire. That was because my aim button is very close to my fire button, and I haven't changed the layouts because I got used to it, but I might have to distance the aim button from the fire button just to prevent misfire. That was a very bad misfire, but did do a little lap around that AMX and managed to get a good shot at its side, and it blew up. Right, a T-44. Okay, immobilized. I killed the gunner and loader and commander. And now let's blow up the ammo of the T-54. There we go. Nice. The ammo of the T-54. The T-44 is located at the back of the turret. I mean, the T-54 also has the ammo at the same spot, but it has a much more armored turret, so it's a bit more difficult to penetrate. Now, I have a very interesting idea here. I might just go a little bit to the side here and let's see if... Oh, this is about to be fun. Okay, a T-54. They're on fire. I immobilize the target so that I can move to the side and put one shell right in the ammo rack. Tiger 2H. I'm getting shot from the side. Let's focus on the Tiger first. Ammo destroyed. Right inside of the armor. Let me destroy this. Oh, it's another Tiger 2H. Okay. I missed the ammo. Just a little bit below the ammo. Alright, fair enough. Second shell right in the ammo. Alright, perfect. Nice. So, there's a object that is kinda angry, going towards me. I'll try to hit the front so that my shrapnel goes through the tank, and yes, exactly what I imagined. Ammunition exploded and crew killed. Perfect. Let me go and disable this T-10A right in the ammo rack. Beautiful. We have another tank, a IS-2. That's murdered the whole crew beside the driver. An object, let me see if I can... Yeah, I did some damage. The ammo rack is at the back of the turret. And the machine gun set off the ammo rack. I also set off the ammo rack of the T-10A. Beautiful. That was a nice hit, by the way. T-95. Yeah, I don't have a good angle to penetrate that tank from this position. Okay, a Yak Tiger is approaching. I did hit the track, but didn't blow up the track. Oh, actually I did. Alright, perfect. Setting the artillery, and now I will... Now I can actually penetrate the front of the Tiger with the APDS without a problem. And you can set off the ammo. Now the ammo of the Yak Tiger is located to the side. So if you want to try to hit the ammo, shoot the sides, right or left from the main gun. That's where the ammo is stored. Or basically shoots the upper sides if you get a shot at the side armor of the Yak Tiger. Alright, so let me see. Well, so far I think it's going pretty well actually. I have 17 shells left. Kinda risky to drive the tank with only APDS, but I need APDS for the vast majority of situations. Haven't had a chance to hit a plane with the T-54, although I am mowing down planes with the objects without a problem, which is kind of funny. I have more kills I have more plane kills with tanks than with planes. I have to practice a lot with planes if I want to get good with them. Right, that was a good hit, and the SPAA did a good job at blowing up the T-54. And I have a turret accompanying me. Well, there is another turret of the Panther over there.
Left side, steady yourself.
We are now in the enemy team's spawn point. Although I try not to spawn camp, but I mean, they have the invulnerability timer, so yeah, they can actually kill me before I kill them.
Let's keep the pressure on.
Well, let's
close.
do the. Yeah, that was a good match. That was honestly a very good match. First place, 1.3 thousand points. Not bad. I'll take it. So, that was the T-54 with the APDS shell, or as I like to call it, T-54 in beast mode. This thing is awesome. So, hope you guys enjoyed the two battles today. I do plan to live stream the game very soon, so stay tuned for that. If you want to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, drive safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.